Welcome, Daniel Reeves, CEO of the Computer Clinic in Bicester. Daniel, thank you ever so much for joining us on the Business Spotlight today. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me onto the Business Spotlight. Yeah, I'm very good, except for the weather.
Yeah, so good old British weather, isn't it?
Good old British weather.
So it's great to have you on board. Thanks for spending the time to talk to us about your business journey. So I thought we'd kick off with a little bit of background in terms of what it is that you do, what your business does, and what sort of services you offer, if that's okay.
Yeah, so I'm an IT engineer at core. My company is a business IT support company. We work with B2Bs, dealing with everything from general day-to-day IT support, but to cybersecurity, to cloud services, moving people into the cloud, maintaining them in the cloud, networking, installing network communication systems, as in switches, routers, that sort of stuff, and looking after their Wi-Fi. But our core is cybersecurity and dealing with businesses' IT support.
Excellent. So you've got a kind of a mix between those tangible hardware, routers and bits, but also the clouds, the cybersecurity.
Yeah, making them talk to each other and act nicely and behave themselves.
That's probably a big challenge in itself, isn't it?
It is, yeah, that's very true.
So it's probably, I mean, we'll cover this in a bit, but I would imagine there's a massive amount of change and stuff going on in your industry
Massive.
and things like that. How long have you been doing? How long has the
The
computer
computer
clinic been going?
clinic's been going 15 years.
Okay.
I've been in IT 20 years. And I worked for a few other IT companies before I opened up the computer clinic. And we opened it because I was not happy with the way the companies I was working for at the time were servicing the SMB market. So we work predominantly in the SMB market.
Yeah.
And it's that quality of care for what you do. So we opened up with the ethos that our first question that comes, or the first thing that comes out of our mouth, is how can we help?
Yeah.
We are about, our strapline is going the extra mile because it's less congested. We go that extra mile where other IT companies wouldn't, to make sure that our clients can grow and are able to function and work.
Brilliant. So you're walking the walk as well as talking the talk in terms
Always.
of taking that extra mile and stuff. So I imagine over 15 years, you're going to have seen a huge change in the IT industry and things like that. What have been your biggest learnings, not just from the industry changes, but also being a business owner and adapting to those changes?
So I think probably the biggest business learning that I've learned over the 15 years is about making sure that as small business owners, we can become very ingrained in every little thing that it takes to run a business.
Okay.
And a piece of advice I got, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago was, anything that is not your niche, not what you do, outsource. And I mean in a business environment. So our bookkeeping is outsourced, our accountancy is outsourced. Anything that is not IT is outsourced. I haven't hired staff to be able to do bookkeeping, accounting, and all the different relevant other things that you would do inside a business. All my staff are engineers. We only hire engineers. Anybody will only ever speak to an engineer. You won't get an admin person or a receptionist, or nothing against admin people or receptionists, but you won't get that delay in communication. We wanted to make sure that clients, when they talk to us, are talking to an engineer. It might be a different level engineer, might be a junior, might be a senior, but you're talking to an engineer because somebody needs to understand the problem that is at hand and be able to start the process of fixing it. So that was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned. That, and being able to delegate. As business owners, because it's our babies, it can become very hard, or it's something I had to learn, delegation, because it was like, oh, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. And then you look at it and go, I don't have enough time in the day to do everything that I need to do. So it's that little bit of letting off and going, yes, I'm going to delegate that. And it might not be done 100% the way that you would do it. But one of the things we work on is that if my team can at least do 70% of what I do, that allows a lot more leeway for us to be able to grow and service our clients properly.
It's a good point, actually, because the delegation piece and outsourcing and getting team members to do things, they're quite closely interlinked, aren't they? Because Yeah, we're all guilty of it. Sometimes tend to not want to let to go. We want to know how it all works, and early days, quite often you have to roll your sleeves up and become a generalist and do everything.
100%.
Um,
And
yeah, I
then
quite often ask.
luckily,
Sorry, go.
as you grow, if you've got that point that yes, actually I can delegate this and
Yeah,
I don't need to be doing it,
it's
frees up so much time.
spotting the right time to do that process, so you can free up your time to do the high level, high ticket value items as opposed to the other things. But the question I
100%.
quite often ask business owners that are looking at that exit strategy, and it's kind of, so who needs who more? Is it, do you need the business more than the business needs you? Because quite often it's actually the first one. It's actually the business owner still needs the business more than it really needs them at that stage.
Yeah. And I
Really,
mean,
really, really
I
good lesson.
suppose speaking for myself, that's the goal is to get to a stage where the business doesn't need me and
Yeah.
I don't need to be here. But it is still running the same ethos and it is running how I want it to
Okay.
go, but I don't need to be here.
Was that always the goal when you started? If you go back to when you started, was it the goal to build a business that worked without you?
No, so I didn't get into business to be a businessman. I didn't I
Okay.
didn't start the IT business because I saw that the the clients that we were servicing were not being serviced in the
Yeah.
way I would want to service them, and that actually the companies I was working for at the time had no they they gave me nothing in order to assist the clients. It all came from my head, my learnings, my so forth, and it was that was the poor quality servicing that they
Yeah.
were getting, especially in my area, because I set up in Bicester. And when we first set up the business, we were 90% residential, 10% B2B.
Okay.
That has now completely flipped 6 years into our business,
Yeah.
and we are now 90% B2B and 10%
Yeah.
residential. And that's just through natural progression, natural growth. That wasn't well, I didn't purposely set out to go, well, I don't want to deal with residential anymore. But they were so badly serviced, and it was my community. I grew up here, and it was like, okay, so what can I do about it? Okay, so I can set out on my own. And it was just me for 2 years. It was me,
Yeah.
solely me. Then I brought in my first engineer to assist me, and we've grown from then. And then we've gone down and we've gone up. And then COVID, we were at 8 members of staff when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And we didn't get rid of staff because of COVID. We didn't lose any business during COVID.
Yeah.
Um, I actually ended up removing staff because everybody was working from home. Because everybody was working from home, it was actually in a strange way easier to monitor what they were actually doing than it was when they're in the office. And
Okay.
it sounds strange and it sounds weird, but I could tell that engineers were not doing their job.
Right.
So the drop down in engineers we had during COVID was because they weren't doing their job, or they weren't doing their job. So therefore we removed engineers, so we dropped down. Since COVID, we gained quite a few clients in COVID because other IT companies dropped the ball, stuck their heads in the sand when it was first announced that everybody needs to go and work from home.
Yeah.
We had clients phone us and go, can't get hold of our IT company on the phone, can't get hold of them on email. What the hell do we do? We've all been told to work from home. Can you help? And we stepped
Yeah.
in to assist and help them on their journey to basically being having the cloud ability, because we found the silver lining out of the entire pandemic was those businesses that were sat on the fence about cloud and were like, no, our data is here in the office. We like everything in our building.
Touch it and feel it, and
Then all of a sudden had to go, oh, okay, actually, we need it in the cloud because we need to work from home. And so that helped businesses that were sitting on the fence to just give them that nudge to push them over to get them up
yeah.
to date into the industries that we're in.
Change is inevitable, isn't it? The world
100%.
changes all the time, and sort of whatever things like COVID, pandemics, and stuff. They're always really, really hard for a lot of businesses, but there are opportunities
Yeah.
if you're looking for them.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
it's a really common theme to starting up businesses where people in their industry want to sort of start up a business to deliver a, level of service that's akin to their own values and things like that. Quite often people don't, not everybody, but quite often people don't set up a business to sell it. But at some point that journey is going to change. So every business owner's journey's got to come to an end at some point, whether you want it to or not.
Yep.
So it's interesting you've pivoted and adapted and starting to now think about that sort of exit strategy and starting to work towards what that
Yeah.
looks like.
So
You,
for
go on.
me, there is the exit strategy is not as common as everybody else's exit strategy, because
Okay.
I don't ever plan on selling my IT company.
Yeah.
So I will always own it. It will be part of the idea that I have sons. It will be part of their legacy. It will be part of what they will own. But it's that exit strategy of pulling me out of the business, which I am 15 years on. I'm probably in the business 70% of the time now, which is a lot less than what it was before. It's not my ideal where I want to be, but it is a lot less than what it has been over the last 15 years.
The methodology to building a business that works without you, whether you sell or not, is very similar. It's kind of the similar strategy. If you could go back to when you started, to go wind back to sort of 15 years ago, would you do anything differently? Would you change how you set up and how you move forward?
So the common answer to that is yes, because everybody makes mistakes. But for me, no, in the fact of everything I did in the last 15 years, whether it was good, bad, taught me a lesson.
Yeah.
In one way or another. And it has helped me to build the way I now build businesses and the future businesses that I build on how I structure them, because I learned all my lessons over the last, or a lot of lessons, not all my lessons, because every day is a learning day and every day you should learn something new, right? Yeah. But I learned a lot of lessons over those 15 years, which actually, if I'd have done something different, I might not have learned that lesson.
It's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point.
So yes, there's probably lots of things that an outsider would look at and go, yeah, well, you should have done that differently. You should have done that differently. And you should change that. And you'd have been here a lot quicker. But actually, on reflection, all of those things, mistakes, the warts and all, got us to where we are now.
Yeah, and it's not being afraid to make mistakes, isn't it? It's having that confidence that actually you're going to learn and develop and grow from those challenging times.
Nothing's a mistake. Everything's a
An
learning curve.
opportunity.
Yeah, as long as you look at everything, if it doesn't work, okay, what? And if you can dissect it down and go, why didn't it work? What were the points that didn't work? Okay, so it was this. Okay, didn't invest enough here. Didn't do enough here. Didn't do that. Okay, so change it for the next time so that you can.
Opportunities to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, in our office, we have the saying, every day is a learning day, because even if you know a lot about our industry, IT, you learn something new every single day.
Yeah,
and if you're not learning, you're not going to progress.
You're clearly a very, entrepreneurial, active, busy, your mind's going and things like that. How do you balance your personal time with the demands of running a business and that world of entrepreneurship?
Team, having a good team. So across my companies, making sure that I've got a good team that I can rely on, that is all pushing in the same direction.
Yeah.
I've had it in the past where the team was not pushing in the same direction, and we had some going this way, some going this way, and in the end, it becomes detrimental to the business. And as long as everybody's pushing in the same direction, knows where I want to get to. So all of my team, we're very open in my office. That we're very open conversation. We believe in educating everybody in the office so that they know what is going on, because that way people and engineers and team members are involved in the growth of the company and how we grow. So it's one of those things that it's another lesson that you learn.
Yeah. And recruiting a team is changing as well. Is, over the last few years, the recruitment process is very much a marketing process. It's more of, a sense of purpose, sense of belonging for the team and things like that.
Yeah.
So what qualities do you look for in the team that you have around you, and how do you foster that productive working environment?
So the thing we always say, so I've interviewed lots of people over the last 15 years.
Sure.
And the thing that we do in our office and the way we do it is I don't interview on, or I don't employ, should I say, on qualifications or knowledge. I employ on personality and the person, because I can teach you as much about IT as possible so that you pass all the qualifications. That's no problem whatsoever. What I can't teach you is to be a personable person. I cannot teach you to care about others. I can't teach you to have that in you that wants to make sure you're doing a good job. That I can't teach. We can't teach personality. So we changed tack probably 10 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, where we hire on personality and on how they are, what they are, on that type of thing, rather than qualifications and that sort of stuff. I've had new graduates sit in my office, being interviewed, and they have knowledge. They have no experience, but they have knowledge. But they're just not the right person. They don't have the personal skills, and personal skills we can't teach. So it doesn't matter how. I'd rather home grow engineers, so that they know our process, know our way, and they get to the benefit of learning from my mistakes, because they don't get to make those. They don't need to make those mistakes to understand networking, IT, or so forth, because I've done those mistakes already and I can partake that knowledge on them. But the thing I can't teach is personality skills and being a personable person. So that's how we hire nowadays.
Hire for attitude, train for skills.
Exactly
that.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the sort of inception of the business, being that engineer, that tech, wanting to deliver a better level of service, very common across a lot of business startups. One of the things that is quite often not neglected, because that's the wrong way of putting it, but not necessarily a priority of starting a business, is the financials of being in business, the controls and knowing your numbers and things like that. What advice would you give to sort of new business owners or young business owners in terms of financial management?
So you need to have, in my experience, you need to have somebody who knows the numbers, because I'm not a numbers man. Okay, I'll admit that straight out of the bat. I'm not a numbers man. I can read a balance sheet, I can read a profit and loss sheet, and I know when the numbers are wrong, but as in the end figures are wrong. But I'm not a numbers man. That's not what I trained to do. So I've spent time finding the right, and we've been through 3 or 4 accountants and bookkeepers over the years, external ones, because we've gone externally for it, because they have the knowledge. Just like we suggest to clients that they should have an external IT team, because we're dedicated to what we do and there's a team of us to do it. So there's no problem with holidays, there's no problem with sickness. You're always going to be supported, against having an internal IT person, because majority of small companies will go, I've got an IT person, or the director is the techie guy and he deals with the tech, and the director's time is more valuable than having to deal with IT. So it's the same for accounting and looking after the numbers. You need to find the company or the accountant or the bookkeeper that gets where you're going, gets where you've come from, gets where you're going to, so that they can assist you and give you the right information. I was always told an accountant should always minimum save you the cost of the accountant on a yearly basis, and then some.
Add value,
add value, exactly, which is what we all strive to do in the service industry.
It's back to that, getting the right people around you. Again, like you said earlier, is get the right people supporting you to be able to, the experts that do it. And quite often the third companies, the outside companies, the external companies, aren't viewed as part of the team. So it sounds like you've got that. Actually, they are a team member.
Yeah, they're the part.
Go through 3 accountants to get the right person that fits with our organisation and is part of that team then.
Just like we build our partnerships with our clients, so that we are their external internal IT department. They come to us for everything techie. We sign off on everything techie. We've done the same with our partners that come and work with us. So in the accountants field, in the sales field, and so forth, they are part of our team. And it works. Having that that knitting together of making them, they're not an outsider, they're not just a mere supplier, as I have heard the words batted around. They are part of the team. It helps the team grow. Everybody gets to know them. Same with our HR department. They're external, but they know the team. It's that sort of thing.
Transforms the results if you make that mindset shift, isn't it? Like you say, they're part of that team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
really cool.
It changes their view on the way they work with you as much as it does your view on the way you work with them if you change that mindset, because they feel part of the team, they join in stuff in the team, and it just makes for a better growing business.
Yeah. So look, world of IT, world of cyber, world of cloud, world of change. The world's changing quicker every day. There's a saying, I mentioned it to somebody else. I can't remember where I actually got it from, but today is the slowest day of change for the rest of your life. Quite a nice way of phrasing, actually.
Yeah,
Tomorrow it's going to get quicker and quicker. So what do you see, where do you see you guys, your business, yourself in 5 years in your industry? What changes do you see over the next 5 years?
So the big thing, obviously, with the last year has been AI, the explosion of AI, and how it's going to change the world, and it will change every single industry that it touches, 100%. The big changes that I see more for us is we're growing, we're constantly growing, and our backbone of what we do for all of our clients is cybersecurity, and cybersecurity is just going to become more and more important than it is now. So it started to become more and more important for the last 10 years, but gradually now, with the explosion of AI and with the bad guys out there using it to their benefit, cybersecurity of any company, even small businesses, doesn't matter if you're a one-man bander, if you're 5 employees, 10 employees, doesn't matter. Every single piece of data that's in your company is valuable. It is. So because it's valuable, people want it. Or they want to be able to, in the cybersecurity side, attack you, even if you're a small company, because your links to up the chain to a bigger company gets them one step further. So for me, cybersecurity is going to be the thing that consumes probably 70% of what we're going to be doing over the next 5 years, and what is going to consume the world is about the concentration on cybersecurity and making sure that your data is protected.
Yeah, it's such an important aspect to any business, protecting that side of it.
And that starts with training your staff. It starts with making sure your staff are trained. You can put as many security measures as you like, electronic security measures as you like in place, but if you haven't trained your staff, the human element will make a mistake and something will happen.
Yeah, it's great point, actually, just going back to those weak links of the chain, isn't it? So yeah, you can have all the best technology, but if the weak link of the chain is a poor process internally, then you're exposed.
100%.
And you're looking to grow. It's obviously a massive opportunity in the marketplace to grow. What words of advice have you got for other business owners that are looking to grow their organizations?
Don't be afraid to take the precipice jumps.
Very good.
So I have a few other businesses, and one of them is growing from a very small team at the moment. And there is a stage in all businesses that I've found over the last 15 years where you require that next employee, but you can't afford that next employee, or you can't quite afford that next employee. And what we class as a precipice jump is taking that jump and going, yes, I'm going to hire that employee. Yes, it's going to smash my profits for X amount of time till they're up and running. We write off usually for a new employee in our company 3 months. 3 months written off for a new employee till they get up to speed, till they get to, they are producers. The precipice jump is that, yes, you're going to spend that money. It's going to drop off your bottom line. You can't quite afford it, but the time that frees you up gives you opportunity to then grow the sales side of your business and actually bring in more clients, or do bigger jobs, or add to the current client base that you've got. Because let's face it, all small businesses we have, I don't know, 12 different services maybe that we do, but not all of our businesses, our clients, take all of our 12 services. So there's lots of low-hanging fruit, which sometimes as a business owner, you don't get to concentrate on, and it's really low-hanging, easy pickable fruit, but you don't get to concentrate on it because you're working in the business instead of on the business.
Yeah.
So you take that precipice jump, and yes, you might feel the pain for a little bit, but in the long run, if you pick the right person, it's going to pay you back tenfold.
Calculated risk taking.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the precipice jump.
Very good. Like it. Love it. Brilliant. Daniel, it's been really, really good. Always finish on one question, which is the question that I probably haven't asked that I should have asked. Is there anything that you you feel like sharing that I haven't asked you that you think would add value?
Yeah, it's for us, for small businesses. So what I see, I deal with a lot of SMBs. So I'm constantly, every single day, talking to current clients or new potential clients, so forth, or just people asking for advice. The biggest things that I would say for an SMB, especially if you're starting out and you're just on that growth, is the people around you, not necessarily your team members, but the people around you. Make sure that they're people that are already on their journey. Make sure you've got people in your networking group, in whatever group you've got, that are already on the journey, because they'll be a bit ahead of you. They'll be a year, 2 years, 3 years ahead of you. But the advice that they will be able to give you is invaluable. It's you can gain so much from it.
Your
That and
environment
networking, talking to people, sitting in a room, not on. So I work in the digital age, but not on Zoom calls, not on Teams calls, actually sitting with other business owners that want to productively grow their businesses and just talking, not attempting to sell your business to them, and looking at them as potential clients, but being able to network with them and understand and solve problems for them without it being, oh, I can solve that problem and it'll cost you X. Just so having those conversations with other business owners and being able to go, okay, so I've got this HR problem at the moment. I used to, I don't do it anymore, but I used to work with a masterclass of 10 business owners, all at different stages in our business. But we would bring to the table stuff that was niggly in our business to see what else everybody else had done. And from that, we gained so much knowledge to help us grow.
Yeah.
So
Like
yeah,
say,
it's the people that are around you.
Taking that time to create some space to build those relationships, to think, to
100%.
strategize, to work on the business. Really
and
good.
I'd say the final thing I'd say to any business owner, which I learned very late, is you have to take time for yourself. It's, yes, we're all in business to make money, and we all, when you first set up, it's go, 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 because you need to make it grow. You will burn yourself out. If you run at 100 miles an hour, 7 days a week, you will burn yourself out. You have to take that time and those breaks to recharge your own batteries.
Powerful advice.
Hope it
Very
helped.
good. Daniel, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for spending the time talking about your journey on the Business Spotlight. Really appreciate it. Good luck for the future.
Thank you very much.